All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I now call to order our June council meeting, and I recognize Councilman Alfred Tucker, who will lead us in invocation.
Let us bow for a word of prayer. Gracious Father, as we come this evening, Lord, we come with thankful hearts. Thank you for this town called Blackstone, Lord. And we pray, Lord God, as we continue to go into the meetings, that you would give us the wisdom and knowledge we stand in need of as we do the business and bidding of the council. Continue to keep us, Lord. Give us what we stand in need of. Lead, guide, and direct us, that we might not stray. We thank you, Lord, for all that you have allowed us to do. And we just ask that you just continue to just allow the council to continue on as the old council go out and the new council come in. We pray that they would come in with a mind stayed on taking care of business, Lord. And we ask that you would continue to keep us all. This is my prayer. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. We now invite you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That was a great prayer, Councilman Tucker. Tonight we are going to be one member shy. Councilman Nash is out of town, I believe, so any tie vote by the council will be broken by the mayor. At this time, we have 3 public hearings. They're pretty standard. The first is the proposal to assess a $25 fee on those persons the town collects delinquent utility or real estate taxes through the garnishment of state income, such as a state income tax refund, state lottery proceeds. This policy is in place now. This is just to apply a $25 administrative fee. I believe, Mr. Norbeck, you informed the council some weeks ago that going back to 1992, there were about $250,000 in delinquent utility.
Oh, no, almost $500,000 of delinquent.
$500,000.
$425,000 of delinquent utility.
$425. Wow.
And so we started focusing when Vicki was still here, and I think now with Allison Payne and Jennifer being familiar with ERMs, and we've had some success this year. Through the tax season, we expect to collect about 6% of all the outstanding. So
That's awesome.
there are some fees that are taken by the state. They keep some fees. We had intended, and we believed that $50 was the permissible fee, but Tessie did some research for us, and indeed, the state code does allow $25, and that's what we're asking council to consider is when we have the ERMs process, it'll help pay some of Allison's time, Jennifer's time to go through the collections. But these are historic old utility bills.
The state has a system where if somebody, John Doe, who used to live here, now lives in Tacoma, lives in Tazewell, Virginia. He gets an income tax refund from the state, or he wins a lottery, we can zap him.
We can attach, and if he wins the lottery, exactly, we can collect that portion of it that they have in their tax return. Say if they owe us $200 and they're only getting a $100 tax return, we're entitled to up to $200 for it. We would have to reapply next year. So every year you have to resubmit and retype in all those things, but it is a state income tax return garnishment, basically.
Okay. At this time, is anyone to speak for or against this proposal? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Members of council, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion that we adopt. Second.
Motion been made by Mr. McCure, seconded by Mr. Green to assess a $25 fee. This will take effect immediately, will it not? Okay.
Yep, we don't need to wait. Good.
Tonight, I believe, is Council President Barbara Thompson's turn then to lead off. Mr. Green led off. Is it still Mr. We're in June, that's right.
Let me go out with a bang.
June. Admitting that it's your month.
No.
Motion carries 6-0.
Don't forget me about the pledge. That was me too.
I know, don't. We're gonna have you. You also have a banner ordinance in your name.
Thanks.
Public hearing number 2 is to update the building code. This is a proposal to update the town's rental maintenance property ordinance, which you've heard a lot about lately. I believe it goes back to 1998, 20 years old, I believe. And this basically would allow the town to assess a $50 charge, pass a $50 charge per unit that the county is going to charge us to the landowner. Which, of course, in some cases, it may mean that some tenants may end up paying it indirectly. Who knows? But this is to recover that fee that the county of Nottoway is going to charge us for enforcing our ordinance. Anyone here tonight to speak for or against this proposal? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Members of council, what's your pleasure? Mr. McCure moves to approve. Mr. Tucker has seconded. Any further discussion?
Approve and adopt?
Yes.
Okay.
How, yes, effective immediately. Just a quick question of staff. How is that going? Have we done any inspections or requested any inspections yet?
No, we had to get the proper building code ordinance.
Okay.
We did designate that by adopting the maintenance code last time and in subsequent editions, so I think we're good there. This has the fees included, so after July 1st, we're going.
Going at it, okay? Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
That motion carries 6-0. The big public hearing tonight, and I don't think it's going to be too big, but it's a public hearing on the proposed budget. Council will not adopt a budget tonight. Council will adopt a budget, is it 1 week from tonight?
27th, I believe it.
That'll be a week from this coming Wednesday. It's advertised with no rate increases, no tax hikes.
Actually, what he has advertised does include a level electric rate with no increase.
Right.
However, we have received our VEMA estimations with a decrease, and I think I emailed it out to everybody, without fuel adjustment, about a 2.1% decrease in electric rates. And the recommendation from the Finance Committee Chairman that I saw earlier would be that we pass that through and return a 2% or 2.1%.
When is it appropriate to discuss that?
Well, first we want to have the hearing, and then you can
Tonight
discuss it.
or on the 27th?
You can discuss it both.
Okay.
I have one question.
Yes.
I understand the 2.1, but there's also an adjustment at the same time on fuel adjustment.
Actually, the fuel adjustment went into effect in April. We
Alright.
put fuel adjustment in. The difference in the dollar figure from what was advertised and what VEMA handed us this past week is an increase. Now, that increase went into effect in April. when we
My
got-
question is how does that level out with the adjustment of the,
If you take the 2.1%
increase
off,
one, decrease the other?
it's still an increase in the overall bill. If you look at that spreadsheet that we provided to you, and you look on the far right side, it says with fuel adjustment and without fuel adjustment. If you look at the total rate increase to the consumer, with a 2% decrease, it's still a 4+% increase, 4.4, I think.
But the difference between the fuel adjustment and the rate adjustment would be, the fuel adjustment is a simple pass-through from Dominion.
We cut a
The
check.
town's not making any money off that. It ebbs and flows and it trails every few months, but it's, the rate is where the town makes or loses money on the spread. Mr. Green's Finance Committee recommended and the town advertise a budget that has no increase or decrease in the rate, keeps the rates level. By law, council can lower a rate when it adopts a budget. It can't go above that which is advertised. Mr. Green did send out an email to council last week. He's in favor of, at that time, lowering, having the town bills reflect Dominion's rate decrease, 2.1%. But that's something the council would vote on Wednesday, the 27th. But
Just so you know, there's a handout at your desk that Jennifer provided to you, and the second sheet is the spread, and here in the lower right-hand corner, with fuel adjustment, is still projected, remember the result projections, 4.4% increase.
Well, I'd like to ask a simple question of the manager, if you don't mind. Tell me about your electric reserves. Are you on pace to fund them? Are you having difficulty?
Our finance plan calls for 3.7 total to be in the reserve fund. $1 million approximately in the general fund reserve, we're there. $1.5 million in the electric fund, we're at 1 million, so we're $500,000 less than our optimum. And then on the water and sewer, optimum is 1.2 million, and we're about 520.
Well, let's don't put so many ingredients in the cake, because what I'm interested in is you know me, I've strived to get these funds segregated, and it's not germane of what's in the electric rate, in the water and sewer. I'm talking about your electric rates, your electric reserve account. Is it on track? Are you doing well funding your reserves? Okay,
That's
great.
easy with the water and
So
sewer.
the other question I have, if you don't mind, Mr. McCure.
I'm sorry.
The other question I have is, now, council wisely, years ago, banked a little bit of money that we had a decrease, and we banked it, we even raised rates 1 or 2%. We had a Tempest coming with a projected 7-8% rate. and we had rate reduction fund, and we were heroes then. Of course, we were the horse when we did it, but when it came out, it was the right thing to do. So my question is, do you see on the horizon, not asking you to use a crystal ball, but do you see any problems with that same thing?
With
Do you see an astronomical rate increase coming down the
I
pike?
do
Or-
think rates are going to ultimately go up as the economy improves.
Right?
I think more demand means more consumption, which means more cost. I think the biggest thing with Dominion, my personal expectation, going to the meetings and being a casual observer of all things in the time since that, I do think Dominion is in a process of changing its sources and going from a coal base to more of an alternative. And alternatives still only represent less than 5% wind and solar and all these other projects that we see, but I do see them transitioning more and more from coal into natural gas.
Well, the reason I'm asking all this is I had a member of council ask me, was it prudent to maybe bank some of this 2.1%? We've advertised it straight. So number one, you're saying that you think your reserves are on track, and I applaud staff for that. And you haven't been, I don't know what the right term is, you haven't been forewarned or threatened or anything about, hey, you better watch out because we're gonna pop you for 8% down the road. Now,
No, I have
so what you're
nothing-
seeing is you're forecasting with your best judgment is that you'll just have the normal
I think you'll see
increases.
some increases. I don't
because of
see
the
a dramatic
economy.
10% increase on the
Right,
horizon.
okay.
Maybe
Well-
1%, 2%, 3%, things like that.
With that being said, I think the hard work that we've done to get these reserves on count, I personally think that we should give that back to the taxpayer, on the rates. Now, if you would have answered those questions differently, I might have changed my
If I was
recommendation.
scared about it, I would tell you.
You tell us, I
Let
can
me
get,
let me ask a question
I want to get the public hearing as soon as we can,
a
yes.
little differently.
Well, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, I think it's, we owe the congregation and those on the web to know what we're proposing. I
Yes.
mean, so I think this is a discussion that should be before the public hearing, so they can weigh in, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sam.
Could you give me a figure, please, approximate, assuming that meeting our goals in October, November,
Of 19.
a bit strained now. They're not impossible, we're working on them, but there's a uncertain edge in there. What would be, if we did not pass this on, what would be a dollar figure that would go into the reserves?
Just so happens, your finance director put together that 2% would represent $88,803.
And then 2.1.
I keep it.
2.1% is $92,243,
I thought so because of the-
$93,243.50.
Well, don't anybody fall on the floor, because I'm gonna rebut that, okay? So, the 2019 figure for the reserves was a benchmark that we set. There's no ticking time bomb. There's no urgency of having the reserves funded. I see a track record here that staff and council has walked down the road and pulled the plow. And if you're 4 or 5 months late, in my opinion, the taxpayer has burdened our efforts for us to have these reserve
The
accounts.
electric reserves, no problem. We'll have those done
Well-
by July of next year. Piece of cake.
Right.
Because we're
So
focused
my
on that.
recommendation stands that we
Water and sewer is challenging.
give
for us.
this 2.1 back to the electric consumer.
And just to brief, I think a lot of times you have to remember your history. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, last year the town was notified of an 11% decrease from Dominion.
11.3.
Council adopted a budget that only decreased your bill by 3%. That was an 8% spread. Now that spread ended up being about 6.5%, 7%.
After the 3 was
Right.
subtracted off.
So council last year did basically get a 10% reduction in electrical rate and lowered your bill by 3%, but kept a 7% spread. And that's helped a lot with that, So members, so the public and everyone watching understands the budget being proposed tonight, no tax increases, no rate increases. Actually, you may hear a motion next week for a rate decrease of 2.1% based on the, the 3% pay raises for most town employees. There's some capital expenses that are normal in the course of a budget. And it's a pretty drama-free budget due in large part to the work of staff and the finance committee. I've seen a lot of budgets in my life, and this is one that I haven't really heard any comments about in the public, and that's always somewhat a
We
good
will
thing.
probably bring to you this coming fiscal year that is not included in the budget. East End is included.
That's right.
Okay, over $1.5 million of improvements and all those kinds of things, and housing improvements would be added as an appropriation if we're awarded at the, what we hope is the end of July.
Right.
But the water and sewer is in, it's fixed. We have some other projects, and I think the Commonwealth Transportation Board will be favorable to the town on 2 applications this year.
Good.
I think we'll receive enough money to renovate South Main Street from 6th to, I guess, the church. There's a culvert that goes under the road between Rick and Community Convenience, and there's a significant amount of reconstruction. I think they're favorably going to review our revenue share application. And
From 6th to 10th?
from 6th to 8th.
6 to 8.
We may go to 10th, but really 8th to 10th doesn't have that much to do other than sidewalks
Right.
and maybe some new surface or new asphalt. But we may be able to take it as far as 10th if we have the money. But the application for revenue share that they would be willing to pay half stops at the culvert just past the traffic signal.
Very good.
Okay.
Excellent news.
And the second phase of the enhancement project at Wrigglesworth and the ball fields has been recommended for approval. And so it looks like we'll get the entire walking trail that we talked about in 2011 will be done.
We
And
did. 2011.
Unless something changes.
That's awesome.
think
That's
they're
great.
gonna do
Excellent. At this time, we'll go into public, Finance Director Hardy, anything else? We appreciate your support. Anyone to speak for or against the proposed budget? There'll be no adoption tonight. Adoption will come next Wednesday, June 27th. We have said, what time would that be? 6 o'clock? We set a time for that
We're
meeting?
gonna ask you to continue the meeting, so be at your
Okay.
leisure.
Hearing and seeing no public comments on the proposed budget, I'll close the public hearing. Members of council, any comments? You'll have a chance to comment next week as well. All right.
Well, is everyone comfortable? Does everybody understand my recommendation about the electric rates?
I love your recommendation.
All right, I want to take this time, these last 4 years, we have really got a lot accomplished. I thank you too, and the rest of the staff for making me look good, but, and I want the new council to remember, I sat in this chair 12 years ago, and we discussed how to pay bills, unscrewing every other light bulb. So our work is not done, but we're well on our way, and, it's not something that we want to have to go back and tackle. And, it's been difficult, and it's been gut wrenching. There's been some difficult decisions up here, and I hope we'll keep going in the direction we are, and the future councils won't have to go some of the heartburn we did. But I thank y'all very much. Job well done. Job well done.
Well, it wasn't just discussed about the light bulbs. Every other light bulb downtown was unscrewed. Am I correct?
It's close enough.
It was-
I mean, that kind of explains the dire circumstances.
It is. We've come a long way. At this time, we will, you have your minutes from your last council meetings, and they are
Move to
detailed.
dispense of the reading and approve as presented.
Second.
I'm going to give the second to Mr. Scott. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. I've got two visitors. I see we're going to have Mike Freeman. I'm going to have you second speak. I see we've got a family, the Johnson family on Maven Avenue with 4 very well-behaved children, maybe 5.
Indeed.
5. I know, Kristen, you said you wanted to make an appeal to council. If you would come up here, one of you spokesman for the family, and I believe you're going to hear tonight an appeal on the inoperable vehicle ordinance. They have, Ms. Johnson has communicated with me late this afternoon about, I think she's had 3 vehicles to remove, and she's gotten rid of two of them. And I told her, I said, she's received some notices, and council is the last resort normally.
Okay, so actually, it has now been collectively 4 vehicles.
Okay.
I have gotten rid of 3 of the vehicles. One as recently as 2 o'clock last night, or sorry, 2 a.m. yesterday, last
Okay,
night.
okay.
This morning, whatever. The one I'm still struggling with getting rid of, removing from the property, is the 1964 Thunderbird. I've had several people that have come look at it, tell me that they're gonna purchase it, and never come back.
That sounds familiar.
I'm trying. I really am trying, and I have the where I was given the summons. I was given the summons for for it being an inoperable vehicle because I have tags on it. The tags belong to it, but the tags are not registered to me. So because the vehicle is not registered to me, so I was given the inoperable vehicle ticket and summons to come to court. And I'm just trying to figure out, I really just need more time. I can't afford any more fines. I have 5 kids. I just need more time. I'm trying to get rid of the car. I'm trying to do what you guys want me to do. It's just a time thing.
When did you get you've removed 3 of the 4 inoperable vehicles on your property, is that correct?
Yes.
When did you get the notice on the 64 Thunderbird? How long have you been,
I honestly couldn't tell you.
The original letter I sent her was December 27th.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That sounds about right.
It'd be up to council, because we usually let our town attorney handle this, and it goes through the legal process, just like with grass and everything else. How much time are you asking council to consider?
Give me 90 days. If I can't get rid of it in 90 days, I have somebody that'll scrap it for 200. I'm just not trying to do that. I mean, it's a
Is it
very
in your front yard or
expensive
backyard?
car.
Is it in your front yard or backyard?
It's under my carport,
Okay.
but I can move it to the backyard if that makes a difference. I will hook it up to my truck and I will drag it back there.
Does staff have anything they'd like to tell council? I just told her that, when there's a council is a last resort, and I told her that today, and
I think the way it works is we deal with it at first, and then ultimately it goes to the police department. And I don't know the status of have you been to court on that particular vehicle?
I believe what you
It
told
goes
me
on the
today-
27th.
What you told me today, I think, is that you got delivered the notice.
Yeah.
And today, the police department, I sent out a code red, their phone lines were down, so I did email the chief. I gave him your number, but it was.
He
probably
called
missing.
me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I told you it was left up to him,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
He said my appeal to you guys would be my best shot.
I have a question. Attorney Bacon, the only option is to repeal the ordinance, isn't it? Is there anything in the ordinance that allows us to do anything other than enforce the ordinance or repeal it? Is that correct?
There's nothing in the ordinance that would allow for an exception. The only thing that I could think of that council could do is request that the officer, or me, if you all want me to do it, but the officer can do it too, could ask the court for a continuance of the court date for however long. But ultimately, that request for a continuance will be up to
the Judge Gravitt.
Let me ask you, can council give me a little latitude here?
Yes.
I may be able to help her from a personal standpoint, and I would like to help. Is there some way that you can give us some time? Is it Judge Mayo, Judge
Gravitt.
Gravitt? Would council allow me to contact?
Can I make a suggestion? Could moving that car to another location.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Resolve the,
I have a legal place to store it.
For 60 days it would. That
would seem
No,
to me
I
to
can
be.
I
put
mean,
the,
I don't have a trailer to,
I do. Well, there's a will, there's a way.
Okay.
What I'm inspired about is that you had 4 and you've taken care of that. Then now you've got a classic automobile that you don't want to scrap.
yeah.
I understand that. So I'm asking, I want to help you. I have a place we can store the car, until you can figure out something. I don't mind calling Judge Gravitt. I've known him for a long time. I just need to know how much rope is the council willing to give me to hang myself?
She's asked for 90 days, and it's council's pleasure, I believe. You just heard the attorney say we could ask, the council could pass a motion to ask you to seek a continuance in court.
That's right, and it would be up to the judge as to whether he wanted to do it or not. Removing the vehicle from the property does kind of, it may make it so that the judge would say, well, the vehicle's already removed.
I don't think, if she moves the vehicle, I don't see where I don't think Judge Gravitt would.
No, Judge Gravitt's he's very reasonable, but I do appreciate you. I appreciate what you're saying. I think we have a chance to resolve this without.
Okay, so can we ask for the 90 days, and I'll be your backup, ma'am? I'll be your backup. If you can't get the 90 days, I've got plenty of places you can put it. I've got right down here on Main Street. It's commercial property. It's totally legal.
Green Automotive.
Okay? So let's do that. Try to get her the 90 days, and I'll be your fallback.
That sounds like a motion.
Well, I'll offer that as a motion.
All right, is there a second? Ms. Thompson has seconded Mr. Green's motion. Any further discussion? And just so we're clear on the motion is to direct the town attorney to seek a continuance for up to 90 days in Nottaway General District Court.
Right.
Ms. Thompson seconded. Mr. Green personally said he would try to help you out if that does not
No,
work
I
out.
will help out.
She will help you out. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all, you kids get if I had a lollipop, I'd give you a lollipop. The bank does that. We don't do that here at Town Hall. Our next visitor, who I know is here to speak to the council, is Mike Freeman, the owner of the local McDonald's and a great corporate citizen.
Thank you, Mayor Colburn, and thank you to the council members. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight. The purpose of my coming here tonight is to simply give you my personal invitation to our grand reopening celebration. Many of you may be aware of it, but we're planning on this Saturday to have a big grand reopen celebration at our location. And we have just completed a great renovation, in my opinion. It's something we've been working on for some time. That building was built, and that business started in 1989. It really had not had any major upgrades. It had some refreshes along the way. But I think we've done McDonald's and us together, and really it took a collective effort, but we've done a really good job, and I encourage you to come out to the restaurant on Saturday. We've got a lot planned. We've got several things involving town functions. For example, Coffee with a Cop in the morning. We have those from time to time where we'll be connecting with the police department here in Blackstone. We have Mingle with the mayors. Mayor Colburn and Mayor Marcette are going to join us. Mayor Eanes could not attend. He's got another commitment over in Crew. And then we got Friends with the Firemen in the afternoon. We're going to have a fire truck there, and the fire department is going to be there as well, so it'll give you a chance for the kids to connect as they do. But the culmination, the big piece of the day, I think, is we're going to have the color guard. The JROTC out at the high school is going to come, and we're going to do national anthem. LA Folks is going to sing that for us. So we're really excited, and that'll happen around our ribbon cutting around 11:15. And we would love to have as many of the town council members as you see fit to come, and we certainly invite all of you. I would love for the picture to be a lot of folks coming. When my wife and I came to Blackstone, Blackstone was our first franchise back almost 5 years ago now. It's gone by quick. We came to Blackstone after having a long process to become franchisees of McDonald's. And we came to Blackstone, and when she and I came here the first time, I've told some of you this before personally, but I'm going to say it publicly. When we came here, the first time we came to that store, we knew this was the one that would get us started. And it has worked out, and Blackstone is very, very close to our hearts. It's really the beginning of our business together. And we have now 7 locations, so we've grown quite a bit in the last few years. Right. And I don't spend as much time actually in Blackstone as I would like to, but we've been here a lot lately with everything going on. But we're very excited about this event. We're very excited about the opportunity. The whole day is going to be a fundraiser for the Nottoway County school system. We have periodic fundraisers for individual schools, but we're going to do it, usually those last 3 hours. We're going to do it for the whole day, and I anticipate, I'll go ahead and say this publicly, I would be disappointed if we didn't have a $10,000 sales day on Saturday. So it could be more. I don't know quite what to expect. It depends on how the weather goes. I will have a DJ MC guy who will be playing music, and he'll kind of help MC the event, and we'll be giving away prizes. We've got a great prize list that he's going to be doing. We're going to be doing prizes inside. It will be a lot of activities. If you do come, understand it's going to be crowded, and we're probably going to be doing the best we can to serve everybody, but our staff is ready for it, and we'll be staffed up to do it. But anyway, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday if you can see fit.
You gonna be around tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Come see me. I'll work with you on the back of that lot, but next to you. You can put your employees, put cars there, give you some.
Thank you so much.
And
we will need all
I
the
got a
parking
couple
we can
ideas
get.
too. Maybe I can help.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Ben.
All right.
I will definitely come by and see you tomorrow.
I'll be there.
I'll ask if you let Mayor Morissette just give me a little bit of airtime.
Good luck with it. Good luck with it.
I won't comment since we're in a public forum.
I'm playing. I would tell Joe that to his face.
I also want to thank the town. We've asked for some tables and a few pylons to help us rope some areas off, and there's going to be some assistance. We've always had a great relationship with the town, and we want to keep that relationship forever and ever going forward.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Thank you. I think what you've done, Mr. Freeman, is phenomenal. It's probably one of the largest investments in downtown Blackstone at a single location in quite a while.
It
Quite a while.
It was a big one.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you Saturday.
Thank you.
Anyone else tonight who'd like to speak to council on the visitors portion of the agenda? There will be another opportunity at the end. Seeing and hearing none, members of council, will go right to our fire chief's report. I don't see your deputy chief here tonight. I guess he's got I recommend you double his pay at Blackstone Fire Department now that he's with Chesterfield.
Appreciate it once again. Don't know if y'all saw in the news that Amelia County Company One had a line of duty death. A 48-year-old firefighter collapsed during a training event. We're going to have one of our crews doing station fill-in tomorrow for the funeral.
Is the funeral tomorrow?
Funeral
I just
tomorrow.
caught the end of it, the news. I didn't, was it heat related or just?
They were actually inside the building, fire station, so.
Just had a spell and fell.
Collapsed. Yep.
Wow.
So, I guess the point behind it is, we always think about dying at a fire scene. And any activity related to the fire department is considered a line of duty. So, there's a whole bunch of other stuff on the side.
Yep.
Pump tested was completed. We did pretty good. Engine 4 had some issues, and that's going to be covered all under warranty. Engine 3, our oldest engine, I believe it's a 88, had some valves that were messed up that we're going to need to get fixed. It's not able to pull a prime, which is its primary function nowadays. Hopefully we'll have the aerial back in play next month. Everything should be delivered the end of this month to Pierce for them to do the repairs. They're still waiting on parts. We've had some updated pictures. It kind of looks like a ladder truck again. And I think that's about it. Thank you for you guys sticking with me for the 4 years you were on, and it's going to be sorry to see some of you leave. Certainly going to open up some interesting doors in the future.
Absolutely. Chief, we thank you for your great reports. Any comments or questions of Chief Tomer?
No.
Yes, sir. I think that'd be very, what was it, do we know the gentleman's name? I did not catch it on the news.
I know last name's Moore.
Firefighter Moore. We will now entertain a moment of silence for Amelia Firefighter Moore, who died in the line of duty during a training exercise. Amen. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell.
I did forget one thing.
Yes.
Our fundraising officer brought it to my attention that for the 100-mile yard sale, there's individuals having difficulty finding places to
Set up.
We'd like to use it as a fundraising opportunity for us to sell spots, but of course, the fire station's town property.
I'd entertain a motion to grant the fire department permission on Saturday, July 6th. Is that the date? No, it's not the 6th.
Have to look. I was thinking it was
Wednesday's the
earlier.
4th. Is it 7th? It's, okay.
The 7th.
Wednesday, July 7th. What hours are you looking at? Probably like 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. until?
Whatever,
It's Saturday, right?
Yeah, it's Saturday. The first Saturday in July, as always.
whatever they want. We're looking at just doing the side lot, so we still have access in the back for us to respond to calls.
Now, you know you can use the square if you want to. There's going to be some people. Zach, has anybody contacted you about the town square?
Not yet. Sometimes they typically don't, but it's open to whoever wants to use it. It's free.
Can't we make that available to the fire department?
Absolutely.
In that front?
I'd entertain a motion to approve Chief Tomer's request for both the fire station and or the town square.
Question,
Yes.
didn't we waive the fee?
We waived the yard sale fee that day. We did that when Ms. Moore was here last month. She may not come here. Was she here? She wasn't. She wasn't here. Okay. We always waive. Ms. Thompson's moved to waive the fee and to also accept Chief Tomer's request. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Mr. Green is second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. What are y'all gonna be selling that day? Just,
We're
Just
getting
selling space.
space.
oh, you're gonna sell, I got you. Very good, very good.
Get
Okay.
people to come to us.
Excellent, excellent.
Just so you know, real
Yes.
quick, you can remove those bollards, those yellow bollards,
Yes.
if you need to use that as a auxiliary way in and out.
Spin. Okay. Right.
All right. Very good. Next in your packet, you have the payment of bills. The first batch of those already paid totaling $377,210.52. Entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion we approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Tucker is second. Any discussion on the first page of those?
What was Larry Chapman here? How did he get a
He
windshield?
hit his windshield with a lawnmower, we were cutting grass, and a piece of gravel came out and hit his windshield.
Wasn't questioning the bill, but just.
That's what happened.
So, I mean, you come back for working, one more shift, huh?
Eric had asked me before, but there was a incident with a lawnmower.
Okay. Very good. I'll ask for a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Green. Motion carries 6-0. The second batch of bills, those to be paid, totaling $380,131.81. Members of council, what's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Mr. Scott has seconded Mr. Green's motion. Any questions? Hearing none, I'll start roll call vote, starting with Mr. Green. Motion carries 6-0. We will go, you have one committee report in your packet. I don't see recommendations. It was just a budget meeting of the Finance Committee.
Well said. This is pretty old news here, really. This was, so we don't have a report other than the budget.
Okay, and under consent agenda, item 1, you have a request from the Eagles Lodge for a banner, waiving the banner fees. I think Mr. Green and had some help writing that ordinance a few years ago. But basically, council can waive the fee. Where do they want their banner to be, at the post office or out on 10th Street?
They wanted it, at the post office, but they said it may conflict with arts and crafts. So I told them that there was space available.
Okay.
Because I believe it's September,
It's a weekend after Arts and Crafts.
yeah, so they wanted it the first 2 weeks, but I told them if arts and crafts is still up there, then we could rotate the weekend, like one up there towards
Yeah.
10th Street.
10th Street's got more traffic count. People don't realize that. There's more traffic per day there.
And I did let them know that, so.
Excellent,
I
excellent.
have a question. I'm reading this, what the manager's put in the package for us, and it says the Eagles and the fire department are teaming up to have a truck pull and requesting to hang the banner for free. Is this a fundraiser that's strictly going to the fire department, or is this?
It's a 50-50. So all net proceeds are gonna be.
Well, I've got a little indigestion with a club going to raise revenue and the town waive the fee.
Are they a 501c3, the Eagles Lodge?
They are nonprofit.
They are, okay. Where is the truck pull?
It's gonna be in their back lot.
Oh, okay.
Anybody else?
It's different.
I mean, it's not, I certainly don't want to ruin my last night bantering about this, but I just, you're waiving a fee and it's going to cost the taxpayer to hang the, that's why we have the fee. The electrical department out there hanging it and taking it back down.
True. Well, I mean, we waive, I think.
I'm just putting it out there.
No, it's a good point. We did draft an ordinance. I believe we waive it every year for arts and crafts. When DBI had events like the concert. I don't know, when's the last time we charged someone for a banner fee? I mean, has anyone paid a banner fee? But certainly,
Well, you jostled me about the banners. I
moved
to approve the
I think the world of our firefighters in the Eagles Lodge. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the request. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Ms. Thompson seconded. That's all under consent agenda. Unfinished business, moving right along. We have the College Avenue Alley easement request, which has been going off and on, certainly in these chambers since about March or before, February, I want to say.
We've had the public hearing. I think there was a motion to table it for 30 days until this council meeting.
Right.
The request is the same. I think Mike is here.
As I'm sure you recall, the request that it be tabled for 30 days is because there was a pending contract on BUMAC.
It's
My
still,
understanding is it's gone by the wayside.
that seems to be the case.
So it is still my request that, and I don't care what you do behind the other properties, it makes no difference.
You just want it behind your place.
Just vacate it behind my house. They haven't used it in 140 years since it's been amalgamated. He has no desire to use it now. Officer Scott has been there when somebody buried your truck.
Right.
I talked to the fire department, they wouldn't take a truck back there. They carry 5,000 feet of hose, they use College Avenue there. It's the only 2 houses or 3 houses on the whole side of the street that would ever have an alley if they decided to take down all the damn trees and move propane tanks and swimming pools and shit.
Well, let me ask you this, if council were to just grant his request behind his house, the alleyways, let's say there's future development on the property behind their house, the alleyway comes out to 4th Street, does it not?
It does.
Okay. Pretty simple request, I think.
What is the manager's opinion?
I don't think we'll ever use it. I've seen more egregious abandonments than this one. And we have no necessity to keep it.
Members of
back on
council,
the
my
tax.
3 favorite words, what's your pleasure?
I'll get the ball rolling. I'll move to approve the request so we can have some discussion.
All right, and is your motion for the entire alleyway or just the alleyway behind the Freeman property?
What do you want me to do?
Because I know Miss Wynn didn't want it vacated.
Well, what would happen if somebody did not want their portion behind their house?
Because half of it
Well, I
would
wanna
be
make sure-
automatically dedicated to Miss Wynn.
Well,
She
that,
owns both sides of the alley behind Mike, or she owns one side of the alley.
right, she gets 5 feet,
She gets
the
5,
Freemans
he
get
would
the marshals get the 10 feet.
The other thing that council may not be aware of is she also owns about 400 feet directly behind where this supposed alley is. And there's already been 3 separate driveways to old homes that were on that property when she had purchased that land. So there's still access to the property, and there's a corresponding alley that runs the other way.
Right.
Do we have the ability, ma'am, to vacate the alley behind this gentleman's home only?
Yes, I don't see where that would be a problem, especially since the public hearing had advertised the whole alley. I think if there's something less than that, then that would not be a problem. Of course, you couldn't enlarge what you're vacating, but I think that you can make it small if you like.
The proposal that was advertised is all the way behind the alleyway between 3rd and 4th Streets behind these properties, 10 foot wide.
All right, help me frame the motion.
Well, the question you gotta answer, do you want your motion to go all the way between 3rd and
No.
4th Street or just behind the Marshall
I don't
residence?
see the need.
Okay.
The gentleman has made a great case, and he doesn't want the whole alley. You're concerned about behind your residence.
That's my only concern.
Okay.
All right.
So help me frame it.
You move to vacate the town alleyway behind the residence of Mike and Kim Marshall on College Avenue.
That's good enough, and so be it.
All right, is there a second to Mr. Green's motion? Mr. Scott has seconded. Now, we're well aware that, and I don't believe Ms. Doris Wynn is here, she has gone on record several times against that. Just want to get that on the record. Y'all know, there's no news there, y'all know that. Members of council, what's your pleasure?
Were you going to poll? Or
I just want to make sure there's a lot, we've been known to have substitute motions come.
Well, I want to make sure I'm clear here. We're not affecting Miss Wynn.
No.
We're not hurting her. I mean, you know, if we vacated the entire alley, then that'd be one thing. So I think he's made a lucid request.
Vacating a portion of the alley renders the rest of it inoperable.
Well, I wasn't going to say all that. Thank you.
Well,
Call for the question, Mayor.
hearing no other discussion from council, I'll ask Mr. Green to lead off the vote on his motion.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries 6-0. Thank you for your patience, Mr. and Mrs. Marshall.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Moving on to unfinished business. Number 2, you have a report on the airport master agreement. It looks like, Mr. Van Orbeck, the duration is as long as grants are.
As long as we have grants in place. I'm not aware of any construction grants. We've received some maintenance grants over the years and small capital items, fencing, remember that hose reel, those kinds of things. So I think we do have some things in place, and I think they have an intention that we're going to pay those back if we don't participate in this master agreement and follow these terms and conditions. I'm not crazy about only one section in there. I understand there's strings attached to grants, but where they can approve or disapprove the sale of properties out there, okay? We have not signed this, and the property with Joe has been sold. And Joe's halfway done with site work and all those kind of things. Sat down with Joe for a long time, we talked about it, and my recommendation, if that's worth anything, would be to sign it, because you do have an out. You got a 60-day notice that you can get out of this thing, but there may be strings attached. But if you take any grant money anyhow, there are always strings attached. The only thing you're losing is some control about making land sale decisions. And we finished up the immediate chronic issue, so we've still got, if we ever sell a property, they do want ahead of time to be notified and to say grace on it.
I'm swimming around here. The storm drain project's been funded and approved, right?
It has been funded. I don't know if you guys have formally voted on it, but yes, it has been funded. The road project has been funded and approved, and you guys have authorized us to go. We haven't because specifically Joe was asked, I'm getting ready to run a bunch of big tractor trailers over here in construction. He said, no sense in wasting your money and tearing up brand new asphalt. So that has been specifically approved and funded. I would have to go back and read the minutes about the storm drainage project, but I think it was the intention that we would do
Will
that.
this have anything to do with that? Because I think that's a great project to do out there.
I don't think they'll give us any money, but we'll certainly apply. We asked one
But
time
it
previous.
won't prohibit us from doing the storm.
Oh, no, no, no.
Okay. Well, with that being said, I move to accept the master agreement.
Is there a second to Mr. Green's motion?
Darn, what I
Mr. Scott
missed?
is seconded. Any further discussion by council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, 6-0. Unfinished business number 3 is sort of a germane, just a mundane, we're changing, just so the audience understands, council doesn't hire and fire or promote or demote every employee, but there's some that we consider department heads that council does have the right to, council hires and appoints a town manager and certain department heads, and so we're revising our list. And just so you know, town manager, town attorney, treasurer, finance director, clerk, director of public works, director of water and sewer, director of water and wastewater, community development director, transit director, and chief of police. Those are the positions proposed on this list that council will have direct hiring, firing, promotion, demotion, suspension, that sort of thing. And that's in your package.
This is the same list. There are some modifications. Yvonne's position's somewhat new.
She's
so,
new, right?
There is an increase, a net one there, but I think there were some positions that were taken off. Some supervisors in the Public Works Department, I think, had been on there, and they're no longer. And I think that there's a position at the garage.
The only question I have is on the director of water and sewer and the director of water and wastewater treatment plants. Do they answer to Mr. Martin directly?
No.
They don't, okay, so that,
Dan handles the streets, the sanitation, and the electric department.
right.
Andre's a little autonomous. He's kind of does his thing, and specific to the water and sewer lines, the collection and distribution system. And then Mr. Harris is responsible for the operations of the treatment plants, water and sewer.
Well, I'm going on 8 years sitting in this chair, and I don't ever remember for me to need to be involved in those two positions. And, you are the manager. Sam, you don't love my speech here. You are the manager, so, as far as I'm concerned, I'll go along with this list, but I think those two ought to be removed.
Council did vote to hire Andre Hicks back in 2008. I believe it was, under the former administrator. And of course, he was just hired, I believe he was hired at this position, I'm not sure.
And I think it's been a few years since there was a department head at the water and wastewater treatment plant, and now y'all made Edward that correct.
Made Edward, where Silverman was the supervisor now. It took us a while, and I wanted to make sure we do it right, because there's been a lot of consternation out there. So I think Ed's your guy, and he's done a superb job.
Well, there's not gonna be any hard feelings about it. I move that we approve this list, less director of water and sewer and director of water and wastewater treatment plants.
Is there a second to Mr. Green's motion? I like the list. Mr. Moncur has seconded. May I just ask a question for clarification before I follow the council? Why would we not, if we're going to have a director of public works and a community development director, why would this council not want to have supervisory authority over the director of water and sewer and the director of the water and sewer?
Well, it's no big deal to me, Mayor, but honestly, anything that's done on those two jobs, and I'm not taking anything away from them because both these gentlemen
They're rock
are a
stars.
tremendous asset to this town. But my point is, it's not in our ebb and flow of what we do, and they don't have direct contact with us.
They do with him.
Except they come up here and do the budget. So anything that would take place would come through his recommendation.
Okay.
And I dare say the council would ever have any questions if he came and said, not these two gentlemen, but Joe Blow
Right.
is I'm having trouble, and give you a heads up, we're gonna.
I agree with Mr. Green in the fact that, this council would really not in a position to be knowledgeable enough to make a judgment, the managership judgments, because they're technical jobs.
Oh, no doubt. I'll be honest with you. I like everybody on this list, and what I see of everybody on this list, I think y'all do a great job. But we rely on the town manager to tell us, you know.
Well, every one of these positions has a correlation or a symbiotic relationship with either the council directly or the committees. These two do not. So it's just, all we are is adding another layer for the manager to do his job. That's just my opinion.
Well, your motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Okay.
You good with it?
I'm fine.
All right.
Where y'all go is not a problem.
All in favor of Mr. Green's motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. I'm just playing the role of devil's advocate, that's all. We have several bids coming up, folks. I may have a question about one or two of them, but your first bid is the landscaping at the medical center. It's an annual bid. We had one bid. That was from Clay's Landscaping in the amount of $4,395. They were the only bid.
No one received.
Members of council, what's your pleasure?
I move we accept it.
Motion's been made by Mr. McCure. Is there a second? Mr. Tucker has seconded. What are we paying now roughly? And
$2,800 a year.
to whom? Who is the current vendor?
John Lord.
John, okay. All right, just had wanted, so we'd be the proposal was to pay a little bit more.
I would ask you to have a roll call because the proprietor is a member of this
Yes, if
council.
Mr. Nash were here, we know he would abstain. He's not here, but I'll ask for a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Green.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. The extermination bid, I love the name of this company, Bugs, Bats, and Beyond. That's the best name for exterminator ever. They were the only bidder in the amount of $1,230.
4 bids, Mayor.
Oh, what? That's right. They were the lowest of 4 bids. I'm sorry. You're exactly right.
And I believe they're cheaper this year than they were last year. Went down.
Move to approve the bid, Mayor.
Is there a second to Mr. Green's motion? Mr. Scott has seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. There's one more here that, the next is the award, the painting bid of this is when we paint parking spaces and lines. And this is a bid from,
Warner Seal Coating.
they were the only,
Greg Warner. Is this Greg Warner?
It is Greg Warner.
I entertain a motion.
This is a unit price. This is for parking spaces downtown, you know, where we just finished paving. And then anywhere on Main Street or Church Street, Dinwiddie Avenue, that have currently yellow paint, it's faded pretty badly. This would be to repaint that and where we put some new driveways in and do that.
Is this either or $1.50 linear foot?
No, they're
or
two different
$8?
items.
Okay, it's two different items.
$1.50 a linear foot is for the curb painting.
Okay.
And the $8 per parking space is to do the lines on Main Street. And we're gonna do a few at the medical center. They'd asked that we line some spaces up on the backside.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the bid, the sole bid from Warner Seal Coating? And he's done work, he's the current contractor, isn't
We
he?
really don't have a formal or valid contract right now at all.
Okay.
It's been some time since we bid this out.
Ms. Thompson's moved, is there a second? Mr. Green is seconded. Any further discussion?
Can, if you do the work at the medical center, you can pass that through, right?
I think you can, yeah.
Yeah, that's my understanding. Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next up, you have the culvert bid, which I'm intrigued by a little bit for personal reasons. This is for Lee's Excavating. The Virginia Avenue Property Owners Association might have a request here soon now that the election's over. On my little culvert, I know everybody loves seeing my little orange cone. I know Mr. and Ms. Green love walking by my house and seeing the orange cone in the
I think we
ditch.
need to do something about it. I mean, not because, but I'm worried about a safety hazard. You know, build it and they will come. I mean, that's not the case here, but my gosh, there's a lot of people walk on
They do,
Brunswick
'cause
Avenue.
it's no traffic
and
on
they
the
cut
street.
through that. And the reason I cut through there is, I don't want to get on temp.
Right, right.
So,
There's no bailout room when you're walking on Virginia Avenue, you've got some room. But anyway, I was just curious about these prices. The only bidder is Lee's Excavating. He's got an intricate breakdown of prices here, and we all know Jay Lee and his firm, they do great work. We might need a roll call on this because this could exceed $10,000, could it not?
Ultimately, if we hit the projects, it could.
Yes. What's council's pleasure?
I'll give you the motion to approve.
All right, is there a second to Mr. Green's motion?
Yeah, I'll second the motion with comment.
Okay, Mr.
I
Monk.
think in the future, that on items where we traditionally have difficulty getting more than one bidder, that some thought be put together with the new council, getting together and deciding how to do it. To try to attract more interest so that we can truly have or walk away from it feeling we have a competitive bid.
Very good point, Mr. McCure. Thank you very much. All in favor of the motion, roll call vote starting with Mr. Green, I'm sorry. Motion carries 6-0. And our last bid to award, I believe, this is a big one here, but this is for concrete work, and the only bidder was S. Walker Construction. And if they did everything that we ever needed in the year, it would be $505,000,
Based on their unit prices, yeah.
based on unit prices.
And
But
the assumptions that these are the quantities that we would use,
the reality is roughly what if you had to just
200.
200?
How does this correlate with the bid? Has the bid expired? He's the current bid holder,
He's the
right?
current owner and he's the current holder of a notice of award and contract between the town and he that expires the 1st of July.
Right.
And,
And how does this relate to that
it's
one?
more expensive. If
Okay.
you look at the curb, which is the primary part, I think we went from $30 a foot to something.
This may be a stupid question, but do we have an option to renew? Do we have an option to renew the bid that he has now?
With the options to renew, I think there was some consternation, because he was the only bidder.
Yeah.
And I think there was some consternation that, well, maybe we need to put this out on a regular basis so there's not an appearance that we're just handing him hundreds of thousands of dollars of work without any more bidders.
So my
bidding on
question
it.
is, on behalf of the taxpayer, is if we have a bid in place that you can renew that's cheaper, why would we not do that?
I think we just hadn't been renewing because I think the optics, there were some concerns at council level that we were giving him a lot of work without a real
The renewal is that-
robust
Okay, well,
competitive.
that's all one thing. I'm asking you, if you can renew a current contract that's cheaper than this one, why wouldn't we? Mr. Old Country Boy,
You
explain
can
that to me.
try. You can certainly try.
No, I'm asking, do we have the option? Do we have the
We
option?
advertised it that it could be extended. If you remember, the ad did say it could be extended in compliance with the Virginia procurement laws for additional years. But it was a one-year contract with additional years permitted based on the Virginia procurement.
I move that you contact Mr. Walker and extend this bid a year.
Extend the current contract.
Yes.
Now, of course, he would have the right to say, no, thank you, but then, of course, he also we may open, the town could go out,
And you're
cast a
right
wider
to
net.
say This is something that we're not gonna award. But the ad does say this contract may be extended, excuse me, the unit price contract will be for an initial term of 1 year. The contract may be extended for additional one-year terms in accordance with the Virginia Public Procurement Law.
Okay. Mr. Green has moved on the basis of us only having one bid, and that was from the current provider.
We come back on the 27th and
Yeah.
report.
Is there a second to Mr. Green's motion?
I'll say
Mr. Scott will second. Any further discussion? All in favor say, I ask for a roll call vote starting with Mr. Green.
Aye.
Very good. Good motion, Mr. Green. That's a good catch there. It's always worth a try, for the taxpayer
Well, I don't
especially.
see the try.
Yeah.
The procurement policy allows us to do it. He signed, he's obligated to offer this for another year.
I don't know if he's bound legally. I don't think
Well,
he's
he
bound.
won't.
We'll
That's
find
the way-
out,
that's
we'll
the-
find out
I
shortly.
I remember when we did this, and that's what we were told, that we had an option, an additional year option. I mean, so I don't see the ambiguity in this.
But he also has to be willing to say, you know what,
Both parties have to agree.
I don't think so. Ask the attorney to take a peek.
Yeah, it depends on, is there a full-out written contract on the matter?
We issue a notice of award that acts as the notice to proceed. It basically says you gotta have your licensure, you've gotta have, town business license, you need to have a state contractor's license applicable to the contract and the amounts, and then it says, you know, all materials, and gives a general specification. What he's allowed to ask more for is if he pours something that has additive or steel in it, he's allowed to ask for additional, I can't say it's a formal multi-page contract. We use a American Institute of Architects notice of award document.
Okay, and it would depend on exactly what that notice of award said.
I'll give you a copy of it.
Regarding the
I use a
renewal.
blank one for paving and for stuff like this, and probably doesn't address it. It's pretty much a blank form. Everything that's in there has been filled out by the town for the most part, so.
But I can take a look at it and.
Okay.
Check it out.
Mr. McCure did, one of the observations Mr. McCure made moments ago, we are finding tonight in our bid renewal and our awards that those ventures that had more than one bidder, the town is getting a discount on what it's currently paying. But on those that had just one bidder, we've noticed a little uptick in the price, which that's capitalism. You know, but Mr. McCure is wise to say, when this happens, we might want to cast a wider net. You always want to shop local, but you get locked in, and all of a sudden you start paying more. I think Mr. McCure's made a good point. Mr. Green's made a great motion. Moving right along to ongoing projects, we're gonna demolish 203 Man Street. Has that been done, or?
The asbestos still needs to be abated. We've given out the purchase order to do so, and they will do that hopefully this week. And then following that, when Dan has time and has a little gap and stuff, once grass quits growing, and then we'll probably start.
Meals tax, everyone's in good standing. That's always good to see. On street improvement projects, Mr. Norbeck, the curb work's been completed on Tavern Street.
Looks quite good, and if you remember, it was a real mess of drainage
Can we go
problem.
back and let me ask one question?
Sure.
On the meals tax,
Excuse me.
has there been any resolution on the bankruptcy?
On Huddle House?
Yes.
H2O, those things just linger, don't they? Moving right along with the street, Tavern Street curb and gutter you mentioned?
Tavern Street curb and gutter is done, as some we had talked about previously. It looks much better, that intersection. It definitely needed some improvements, and those are complete as far as construction. We still need to do the sewer line, but we're gonna bid that out at the same time as we do the rest of East End, okay? The East End project, which is primarily the water and sewer project for the town, will include that section of sewer in that project, so we're doing it all at one time.
Very good. Rugglesville Sports Complex, there's been no B&Es at the concession stand this week.
My knowledge.
That's always a good thing. East End Neighborhood Project, we've got an update from Director Wilson on the Southside Outreach Group. Is that just informational? They're in the process of assisting a resident in the project area. Is that the resident we discussed at some time? Okay, very good, very good. Is that the project where Mr. Howerton, they donated $10,000 to help with
No,
the,
that was the,
on Stoke Street?
on Stoke Street. I think this is in the project area. This is a different family.
Okay, okay, well, very good. Weatherization, you have nothing to report. Do you have anything to report on the pole attachment fees? Because I'd recommended, if we get the pole attachment fees, it'd be nice to put that in weatherization, if council would choose to do that.
And I am working on drafting a pole attachment fee ordinance, and
Good
so
for you.
there will be one for either council or committee, however you all see fit to review at the next meeting.
Eric has rebuked me on 2 occasions that I can think of about not having this done in the budget. But I did have a VEMA meeting last week, and I told all the other communities of what they're getting paid, and I have a chart and graph. So it's, gosh, it's as much as $20, $25 a pole.
That's good weatherization money, or it's good money, whatever council sees fit. Moving right along to the rental property maintenance, and this is informational. You're letting the council know the Board of Zoning Appeals will be,
That is in the current ordinance.
okay,
The Board of Zoning Appeals is the appeal.
is a review board. So give me an example of what how would the Board of Zoning Appeals be brought into action?
Somebody comes in and says, I don't think I need tempered glass on this door. I think I can get away with it with, or this storm door, I don't need tempered, I can just do it with the less expensive regular glass. And this is a case in Amelia County. The guy said he didn't feel that was necessary, and then the Board of Zoning Appeals would consider the request, hear the building inspector or the rental inspector's side, and hear the property owner's side, and make a decision.
That's good. So the appeals won't be going to council, it'll be going to the judge-appointed appeals board. Excellent, excellent. Utility upgrade number 8, Mr. Norbeck.
Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, if anybody's interested, we're opening up the bids for the improvements to the water and wastewater treatment plants. This is a bond we took out in 2016, and the bids are being opened tomorrow.
What do we have budgeted for that project?
We borrowed 2.3 million. That's the one where we borrowed the money from Hancock Bank in Mississippi.
Gosh, that's right.
What were we at, like 1.7, we thought?
I think the total bond, because there is line work that's not being bid out, but this portion of it, I think you're gonna be in the 1.7, 1.8.
Is this part of this project doing the other line?
Not this.
Oh, not this.
It's in that money,
Okay,
but we'll take the line work in front of the bowling alley and to the main gate, east end, Amelia Avenue water and sewer replacement, an alleyway storm sewer behind Acapulco's. We've been talking about that thing. Gosh,
Forever.
We found plans that Larry had done years ago.
25 years ago.
And then there's a manhole at the intersection of Fort and Southwest Avenue. There's an old brick manhole that's about to give up the goods on us. And
Okay.
all that would be lumped together, all the line work. The engineers felt like there's one type of contractor that likes to do concrete and equipment, materials, and they're knowledgeable and they'll bid on that, all the line work. is a different type of contractor, so we separated the line work from the concrete and the new bar screen, and putting the roof on the reservoir down there at Fort Pickett. You know, we've had water standing on occasions over there, and that's included in the project as well.
Wow.
So there'll be 2 sets of bids. The first one will come in tomorrow to get that moving forward, make sure we're in budget. How much is left? Do we have enough left to finish the line portion? And the abandonment of the 1 water tank at Pickett. When I say abandonment, we're not gonna give it away. We're going to
Deactivated.
deactivate it and then deactivate the 1,000,000-gallon reservoir that's on College Avenue.
Which will improve our water pressure, and for those of you wondering why we're doing such a thing, we use less water. This will allow water to turn over quicker. I think we found that some parts of town, when they turn the faucet on, the water is still passing state test, but the water might be as old as 18 to 21 days old. Ideally, you want water not older than 11, 12 days that's been sitting in the tank.
The age of the water decreases the chlorine contact, the residual of chlorine. We used to add chlorine at the old reservoir down there on College. There was a hut in there, and Andre would bleed the chlorine into it to give it a touch-up before we went into the storage. The health department doesn't allow us to do that anymore. And so we've had to modify chlorine additions, and that's where we failed that chlorine test. We didn't have enough in the system. There was a back T test that was taken here at Town Hall that we failed on 2 years ago.
That's right, I remember
That's
that.
what started a lot of this.
That's right. All right, well, that's good information there. That's very important. That's about the most important service you get from the town of Blackstone is your clean, safe drinking water. Number 9, the comprehensive plan. Comprehensive plan.
You want to come up?
Yes, comprehensive plan. Working on it now. Have met with the Nottaway Planning Council, so they're in the process of helping us to update the information as well. And one of the things that we're planning on doing is trying to get feedback from people in the community, because since we are planning for the future in the next 5 years, we want to hear what the needs of the community are as well. So we'll be doing surveys and trying to get as much information and feedback as possible. So in the packet, it was saying our forum that will take place on July the 31st at the Blackstone Fire Station at 7 p.m. So we are inviting everyone to please come out and please to give your feedback to us.
Very good. And just for the audience's benefit, I believe, and Mr. Rubeck, I know this is one of your expertise areas, a comprehensive plan is a document that localities are required to do, I believe, every 8 to 10 years, every 5 years. And it's sort of like, it's a plan. It's not a law. It doesn't mean that if the plan says we envision that, let's say, the Gravett property will be a large golf course or hunting preserve. It doesn't mean that if a hotel comes in, you can't say, well, gosh, we said it was going to be for outdoor recreation. It's just basically a guideline that may steer the zoning ordinance, or possibly, but you're not bound by a comprehensive plan.
You're not bound by any comprehensive plan. The beauty of comprehensive plan in Blackstone, we know we don't want conservation areas necessarily in Blackstone. It's easier in a town than it is in a county where there's competing interests, farmers and people that hunt, and people
Solar
in
farms
industries and all that kind of stuff. So in Blackstone, it's easier. What we really need on the comprehensive plan is to tell us what activities does the town want to undertake. We're not in a huge master planning. We kind of understand what we got and where we can go. What we're looking for is, what do you want to see in the town of Blackstone for your kids, your grandkids? Is it facilities? Is it community centers?
Programs?
Yeah, better internet service. What are the things that are kind of getting you jazzed up in Blackstone? I don't think most people are going to comment on whether a golf course is a good idea for Gravett Farm, but I do think people are going to be highly interested in better internet service or better and faster Wi-Fi. And those are the things, when we put in applications to the Department of Housing and Community Development or RUS or anybody else, and we make an application and say, our goal and objective, number 17, in our comprehensive plan does say that better, faster Wi-Fi service is necessary, and you actually get points.
By having it in the plan.
In your plan, so you want it in your plan. We applied for South Main Street, if you remember those revenue share projects. And Jennifer Beck, I don't know if you guys remember, brought to us 2 areas that we designated as urban development areas. You remember that?
It rings a bell.
Real kind of a casual 5-minute discussion in one of the council meetings. Without that, VDOT would not fund any of our revenue share projects. Nottaway Avenue, South Main Street, any of those kind of things. So we had to have that included. And the Gravett Farm is a UDA, and the other one is down near Walmart, and kind of Miss Carwile's farm.
Yep, that's good. That's great. Well, that's a very important meeting. Tuesday, July 31st at 7 o'clock at the fire station. Anyone, y'all that have any thoughts about what Blackstone needs or what you want, speak now, forever hold your peace.
Yes, and we also inviting organizations and individuals who are interested in helping with this committee to.
Excellent, outstanding. That's great, Yvonne. Thank you so much. Moving on to new business, we have a big expense here, but it's one that's needed for upgrading the town's computer system. Is this billing, or what is this?
This does everything. This does our billing. It's the Brighton Associates AS400.
It's a server, right? This is a new server.
There's a new server.
Yeah.
Well, a new mainframe. I think may be the term. I'm not a computer expert, but this is the AS400, the IBM AS400. This is Casavern, which is the maintenance company that's.
They're the only people could provide this
They're the ones that provide it for us now. I don't know of another vendor.
state kind, okay.
Okay.
That makes me feel more better.
$48,219, but the last upgrade was probably 20 years ago.
They put, well, that may be the case. AS400 was put in 92, and that's how we know how many delinquent utilities are, was in 1992. Has it been worked on since then? It may very well, after my departure in 98.
Gotcha. All right, members of council, what do you need? You need action on this, don't you? It's budgeted, but you need action to go ahead and proceed, don't you?
You gonna pay this in a lump sum?
I think our plan is to pay them a lump sum. Unless Jennifer tells me not to do that. Which she may very well.
I would entertain a motion from council. Mr. Scott has moved. Mr. Green has seconded. Any further discussion? I'll ask for a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Green.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Committee referrals, there's a request from the town manager to refer this wonderful topic called the Historic Business District Sign Ordinance. I will refer that to Health and Ordinance. Health and Ordinance, and there'll be new committees named in
We
July.
haven't done anything because of the new council, so once you get a committee, we'll have Uber committee meetings
Yes.
on a range of topics.
I'll try to present them, probably chances are the new council will probably have a meeting before the third Monday. Is it possible?
I think you're gonna have a joint public hearing with the planning commission on the 2nd of July for sure.
Okay, there's no need for a meeting maybe shortly thereafter that, or?
You may wanna do your appointments and